Good afternoon to you, and in this video number 180, I'm going to actually talk about two functions. We are going to explore this the count function, CountIF function, and CountIF functions. Right. So these are the two functions I'm going to discuss in this video, and I'm going to talk a lot about this. We are just not going to understand their definitions, but also we are going to discuss about what is the difference between CountIF and CountIFs, because I see that a lot of people get confused between CountIF and CountIFs when they actually work on the MIS, right? So we are not only going to learn about what is the definition of the function, what are the fundamentals, how we are actually going to use these, what are the parameters we are going to use in this function, but at the same time I have also prepared some questions for you, so that while answering those questions it would give you a better understanding as to which function is to be used and which function is to be avoided, right? So this is the video number 180, and if you're watching this for the first time, then I must tell you, please go ahead and watch the other videos as well. We have so many videos on Excel and VBA, and this is the video number 180. You can go to my YouTube channel and you can see, under the playlist, according to the subject, there are different videos which are there, and you can watch them, right? So let us start this, and before I start, I just want you to be comfortable with this database which I have prepared. It's a dummy database, very small database. In this we have some items like bottle, box, solid, liquid, nuts, home based furniture, decoration, and then we have a year also. Then we have quantity, how many quantity, what is actually the total quantity we have sold, and then we have the total sale, how much revenue, profit, or whatever you want to call it, is we are getting from that item. So if you look at this first line, you see here that we have sold 22 bottles in year 1998, and we got a sale from there, $340. And if you go ahead, if you just come down, you would see here that there is, in the year 1993, we have sold 22 quantities, and the amount which was there, it was again $340. So similarly, if you scroll down, then you would find maybe there is another item which is there. So item can be repeated, but the years are not getting repeated, right? Suppose we have this solid item. It's in the 2001, the sale was $400 and quantity sold was 55, and here in the year 2010, the quantity was just 10, and the total amount which we got in by selling these solid items, we got it $500. So now the point is, the first function which I'm going to talk about is the CountIF function. So where you are going to use the CountIF function, that is the first thing we will understand. Now CountIF function, we use it whenever you want to count something on some specific criteria, and it has to always be a one criteria, because you see in this CountIF function you have a range, and the second parameter you have is here is a criteria. So there is no space for the third parameter. In other words, I can say that there is no space for the second criteria. So whenever you have a one criteria, just use the CountIF function. If you have multiple criterias, then you should use CountIFs, provided if you're supposed to count something on those criteria. So you can see here that it's entirely different from the CountIF. It comes with the criteria range 1, then it comes with the criteria 1, and then you see after this comma sign there are ... Now dot means that actually you can put here a lot of criterias. For example, if I'm going to put this comma, you see that the range is going to expand. So I can put here n number of criteria. So this is the difference between CountIFs and CountIF. If you have a multiple criteria, more than one, then go for the CountIFs. If you have just a one criteria and you're supposed to count on that particular one criteria, then please use the CountIF function, right? So we're going to understand these functions. This is the basic difference. That should not give you any confusion now. Whenever, for example, look at this first question. The question says that how many times we have solid item coming. So basically we are interested in finding out the count in this range, which starts with A1 and A1 to A23. We want to see that how many times this item, which has a name called solid, it's coming in our database, right? So how are you going to do it? You're going to use the CountIF function. Then what is the first parameter, its range. So you can give the range here, you can select this entire range, and in this range you will have to write what you want to count. I want to count solid. So solid is a text entry, it is not a number. So remember, whenever you want to count something which is not a number, then you have to provide the double quotes. As you can see here, I have put the double quotes within the before the solid and after the solid. If you won't do that, then you will get the error. I'll show you that in just a moment, but first of all let us see that if we got the correct answer or not. So the answer says it's 4. So we can see here, let me just put the filter here, let me go to the data. So I'm going to put the filter here and let us see that if we are correct or not. So we have 1, 2 and 3 and 4. So we have got the 4 items and it is perfectly fine. So this is how you can use the CountIF function. Okay, now let's go to the next question. Let's try to answer the next question. Before I jump on to the next question, I also want to tell you that what I was telling you actually. Now look at this. If I'm going to delete these quotes and I'm going to press enter, Microsoft Excel found an error in the formula you entered. Do you want to accept the correction proposed below? So it says CountIF, and then you see it's giving the correction also. The double quotes are inserted here, but in your formula over here, if you look at in this formula bar, fx bar, then there is no double quotes, right? So that's something which Microsoft Excel can do it for you. Many people, when they get this kind of a statement, they think that this is the error and they, click no, or maybe they close it. But if you read out this carefully, it's actually, of course, it is an error, but Microsoft is able to sort that out for you, right? So it has removed the error and it's giving the correction. So definitely you would like to click here yes, and this is how you will get back to your this answer. But what if you don't put the double quotes anywhere like this? Let me press enter. There you go. So I'm telling you this in advance, maybe because this is a very common mistake, right? You may, after watching this video, you may try to use this CountIF function in your area, in your work area, and then you would get this. So please remember, if it is a text, you have to provide this within the quote. Text or alphanumeric, everything goes within the quotes, right? That's the first thing. All right, now let's go to the answer number 2. So if you read the question, the second question is, how many times we have nuts and solid items coming? So basically we are now looking for the 2 counts. We want that how many times this item nuts is coming, and at the same time we also want to get solid item added. So that means the criteria is 1, right? The criteria is 1, and there will be 2 CountIF functions which we are going to use. So I'll give the range. So this is the range, and in this range now I'm going to count solid, close the bracket, plus next time what we want to count is nuts. So I'm going to select the entire range, and here in the double quotes I'm going to write nuts and press enter, and there we go. So we have got 8 items. We can see it quickly. So let's start from here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The last one, right? So this is how you can use this CountIF function. So it's not always that you just need to, there might be some scenarios where you can, if you have a multiple things to count based on one criteria, then of course you can sum them up. You can also multiply them, you can also, subtract them, because CountIF is a function which will always return a number, remember, right? So if you are analyzing any problem, right, and the output which you expect, which you're expecting, of that, the problem, which you're analyzing is a text, then please never think even of these CountIF and CountIFs function, because they always return the number. Then you're in the wrong direction. So like VLOOKUP, if you talk about the VLOOKUP, VLOOKUP can give you anything. It can give you alphanumeric, it can give you a number or maybe a text also. But CountIF and CountIFs, they are the numeric functions. They always return numbers, right? So let's go to the question number 3. What is the count of bottle item before 2000 and after 2000? Now this is a very interesting one. So basically we want to see that before 2000 year and after 2000 year, how many sales we have done, right? So how many times, we are saying that the bottle was there, the item was there. So you can do one thing. Maybe you can prepare a summary sheet like this. Let's say greater than 2000. I will write it here, and then maybe here I will write less than 2000. Okay, and here we can write that item. Let's say we want to calculate bottle. So this is what I have prepared, and now what I'm going to do is, maybe here in this cell, let me just shrink it little so that we can see. Yeah. So here I'm going to use the function CountIF. I start the bracket. Now I have to give the range. So I'm going to give the range. This is my range, right? And in this range, now what I want to count, right? Now you see, you have two criteria. You want to count bottle. There is only one item which you want to count, which is bottle, and at the same time you want to also count, the bottles before and after 2000. In this case, we want to count after 2000. So CountIF is not going to work because you have only a place for one criteria, but you have two criteria. So one is bottle, and the second criteria is greater than 2000. So basically, we need two items. We need two headers. One is the item, the column A, and the second is the column B, which is called the year. So in this case, we will not be able to use this function, the CountIF function. So we're going to use the CountIFs. Start the function. Now what is your criteria? Range 1. So you can select any range. Maybe you can select first year. It's all up to you. The answer would not change if you change the the ranges, because CountIFs function always works on the AND conditions. Every condition has to be true. Even if even if single condition is not going to meet out of n number of conditions, that function will not give you the value back. Okay, so in this range, what we want to count, I've selected the range, the column A, and the criteria is going to be bottle. So I can select, or I can write here bottle as well. Remember, I can do this as a bottle, and then in the criteria range 2, which you're seeing here, criteria range 2, I'll go to the range 2. I'm going to select this. And then in the range 2, what is my criteria 2, which is bold right now? I'm going to say that my criteria is greater than 2000. Alright, so let's press enter, and there we go. So we don't have any such item actually. This is what it says, right? We can definitely go ahead and we can check whether this is correct or not. So let's go ahead and check the bottle. So this is the bottle. The year is 1998. It's not greater than 2000, so it is not going to count because both the conditions are supposed to be true. Then we come down, we see here the bottle which has a year 1993. Again, it is not going to meet. So here we have 1993. So that is why it is not going to count anything, right? So similarly, we'll go for the CountIFs. Again, I'm going to select this range, and then in this range, I'm going to again write bottle, and then I'm going to select the criteria range 2, which is this range, and in this range, I will write here less than 2000. Press enter, and there we go, right? So now we have to see that we are not getting any less than 2000 also. So let us identify if we are correct or not. I guess if we go here and we see that okay, so there is one mistake I have done. There is a spelling mistake actually. Let's just correct it. Bottle, and here also we have bottle. All right, and I think that's it. We have only two. We have only two items here, I believe. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay, so we got the two items, right? The moment I'm going to change anything, let's say in this the bottle item in this year, let me try to change this to maybe let's say 2010. So I'm going to make this 2010. You can see that the 2 is now changed to 1 and that 0 is changed to 1, which is but obvious, right? Because when you are going to change this 2010, then it is going to fall in this criteria. So here you have a bottle, and then here again in the year criteria also, where we have written that this has to be greater than 2000. So both the conditions are meeting. So this is also holding true, and this is also holding true, and that is why it is, you know, getting counted. So now one more thing I want to tell you, it's not always necessary to, you know, what you want to actually count, you write it within the codes. Maybe we can do one thing. Instead of selecting this bottle, you can directly select this cell as well, F11, right? But then you don't have to put it within the quotes, because if you're going to put it within the quotes, then the CountIF function is going to count F11. It is going to consider it as a string, so it will, you know, try to find it out where is F11 written, right? So F11, we don't want to find F11, but we want to find what is written in the F11, which is bottle. So you just keep it like this. And similarly here, in the greater than 2000, you can also select this cell where you have written this greater than sign, and, you know, the answer would come. Similarly for this case, you can just backspace it. You can select now the bottle, and in this case you can select this year and press enter, and there we go, right? So you can also change the years from here. Let's say if I will make it let's say 1950, then automatically your condition will change, your answer will change, because now the comparison is going to happen with this cell called F12, right? So this is the difference between writing it there within the quotes as a string and referring it to a cell, right? So now that depends. I mean, if you don't want to make this formula, you know, so dynamic that it can change itself according to the value what the user is going to put in the cell, then obviously you will not use that, right? It's a very common sense actually. I just wanted to actually, you know, bring both the points in front of you. So I hope this makes sense. Now let's go ahead and let's check the question number 4. So in the question number question number 4, we have said that what is the how many times items are sold after year 99, and how then the next question is how many items have total sales greater than 500 after year 2000. So let's target on this question number 4, which is how many times items are sold after year 1999. So this is very simple. Again, you will use the CountIF, okay, and you can provide this entire, oh, I think I just used the closed parenthesis. So you need to provide this entire range, which is B2B, and in this B2B table you are just going to write here greater than 1999. Just enter and you have your answer. So 11 items we have here, you know, where you see that they are they're coming after the year 1999. So remember, this is just a one criteria, right? We just wanted to check the items. Every item has a year, right? So definitely when you are going to count the years and you're going to count the years on any of the condition, you know, corresponding items will automatically be calculated, right? So the what is the next question? The next question is how many times have total items how many items have total sales greater than 500 and year 2000. So in this question we are talking about all the items. We are talking about box, solid, liquid, nuts, bottle, decoration, furniture, whatever the items we have, right? There is no criteria which is going to specifically target on one item, but at the same time, having all the items, you know, we are going to consider in the calculation. We also are filtering 2 points. One is that the sale has to be greater than 500, and then So in this case we have two criteria, so I'm simply going to use the CountIFs function here, CountIFs, and this is going to be my first range where I'm going to count that how many times we are getting year greater than 2000. So you're going to write in the criteria 1 greater than 2000, and then in the criteria 2 you're going to select this time total sales, not the quantity, remember, because we are targeting on the total sales. So similarly in the D to D column I'm going to target this greater than 2000, right? So I'm not going to use this time B2 to B11 or B20, you know, whatever. I'm just simply have selected the entire column because I know that this is just a one table and don't have any table below this table, so that's why I've selected this. So now we have got this you know, the result, which is 0. So we need to check now. I'm going to put the filter here. So when you put the filter, so we're going to put the filter in the year greater than 2000. So number filter greater than 2000. Let us check if the answer is correct or not, and then the next step would be to see that how many times you are getting the value more than let me check what was the value actually, greater than 500. Yeah, so greater than 500, and so after 2000 we don't have any value greater than 500. You can see this is the value which is 500, so it's not actually greater than 500. So let me change this to $700. Okay, now come back to the result and let's see if we got the result or not. So okay, so I beg your pardon, I actually, this has to be D to D is the total sale, so it has to be 500, right? Yeah, so now we can see that we have got the two results. So two results, I just let me just put the filter once again and let us check. Let me put the filter here. So greater than 2000, greater than 2000, press enter, and we need to see now this is the first value, which is solid item, and this is the second item, furniture, in the year 2001, right? So these are the two items which it has calculated. If I'm going to change this to $2, I'm sure our answer would be now 1. So let us quickly see. So as expected, the answer is 1, right? So this is all about the CountIF and CountIFs. Now I hope after this video you will never have any problem in deciding which function, you know, is to use out of these two. It depends, you know, it depends on the conditions, how many conditions basically you have, and at the same time it also depends if you are using CountIFs, then sometimes, you know, you don't want, let's say if I say that either it is going to be a box, or year has to be greater than 2000, or quantity has to be greater than 50. So when you are going to work on the or, then you can't use the CountIFs, because I said, I'm repeating this again, that CountIFs actually work on the AND condition where all the conditions are to be satisfied. If one of the condition out of those n number of conditions is not going to be met, then the result will not be there. The CountIF is not going to count anything for you. So these are the points which you're supposed to remember. Now I can do one thing for you. I think let me quickly remove the equals to sign from this, so that you can see the formulas, and at the same time you can practice it on your own personal workbook. So you can pause the video right away, and now you know all the formulas are here and all the questions are here for you. So you can read these questions and you can practice on it, and let me know in case if you have any concerns.